Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Zia and some of the artificial intelligence mechanisms and things that we've been working on. So just to go a little bit more in depth on just the concept of artificial intelligence, I know it's a buzzword now for a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of things in the news, but these are probably just a few of the ones that you've seen or had some type of impression with so far. Of course, Siri on your iPhones, iPads, or your MacBook, Amazon Alexa if you have one of those Echoes at home, Cortana if you have a Windows computer, and for some of the more enterprise level companies, then you have Watson that's doing a lot of stuff on the back end and helping in a lot of industries. And of course, there's some that are in very similar areas that we are in. I won't say any names, but I'm sure some of you might get this idea from a few other CRM vendors out there. But anyways, the whole thing about artificial intelligence, especially in the CRM or just software as a solution space, is machine learning. Understanding how users are actually updating things inside a database, how they're interacting with the system, what changes that they're making, and starting to learn exactly how those people are interacting with that data. So what are they doing on a day-to-day basis? How are they changing things around? And things of that nature, right? So that's where exactly we're starting to make our first impressions into this artificial intelligence tool. So and since this is one of the things that we know is a buzzword and a lot of solutions are getting to that point, we, on the development side, decided to take a step back, kind of understand how people are using our systems from a data perspective, and wanted to go in and make a couple of tweaks on just one of our products. And that's what we have right now with the CRM for Zia. So we took two specific enhancements, which we'll definitely discuss in this presentation, and show exactly how we're making that next step into it. And then, of course, we'll talk about what we have coming up. So first off, we'll discuss the assistance that we provide on interactions, and then also sales performance analysis. So what it thinks is going to happen, what predictions it's actually going to make, and how you can use this as a tool to improve on the performance of sales, revenue, and even follow-ups for your sales reps. And then we'll take some time to talk about what's in store for the future. So first off, let's discuss the interaction assistance. So to take this a step further here, we talked a little bit about sales signals, right? So every single one of these things that you see on the left-hand side, whether it be a phone call that was missed, Facebook message, Twitter, things from other third-party apps like SurveyMonkey or MailChimp or other ones out there, you'll be able to see those as what we call signals inside the system. So if you think about it conceptually, every one of these different interactions that you have with a potential lead or contact or someone that you have an open deal with is captured as a signal, every single one of those things. So if we think about it from a data visualization perspective, then you'll have a graph like this, right? So these different waves that you see here, these different lines on this graph, are the different channels of interactions, if you think about it. So we have phone calls on the very bottom, and across time, there's certain people that might be calling at various points in time, not so much later on, and it kind of streams in a certain way. And we can think about this for other channels of interaction, like emails, opens, click-through rates, responses, social media interactions, website activity. We can think of all these as different lines in this entire graph. And eventually, it goes from the beginning of when that interaction takes place to your CRM. And it's captured from those sales signals. But at that point, where we decided to put our artificial intelligence effort is before it gets captured to the CRM, to the salesperson. And that's where exactly Zia sits. It captures that information right before it's displayed to the sales rep, and they are able to start interacting with that and use that as a reference to suggest certain things. Okay? And where exactly that comes in is that best time to contact, right? So there's a couple of places where you're able to see exactly when the best time is to actually reach out to someone. When you actually go inside a contact or a lead, you'll have that displayed right next to their business card information. If you go into your tasks as well, or you'll also be able to not only take a look at the best time to contact for that given day, but you can switch between different days of the week and the month. So maybe that person tends to pick up phone calls Monday mornings and then Friday afternoons for some odd reason. So you can switch between different days of the week and be able to use that as a way to track and schedule out some of these follow-ups based on those different times. And you'll be able to see this in different places as well. So that means you'll be able to see it inside the list of tasks that you have. So as a sales rep, someone might have a list of different things that they have to take care of for the rest of the day. They can use that best time to contact as a way to prioritize or organize which ones that they need to take care of first for that given day, right? And so it allows your sales team and anyone who's actually making those follow-ups to organize themselves a little bit better. When they go actually into that activity, then they'll also be able to see it on the right-hand side along with their other profile information. So their contact details, any other activities and things, they'd be able to see that best time to contact suggested right over there. So easy access. The other places that you'll be able to see it for tasks is when reminders get set up and when you're initially creating those events and scheduling those calls for later. But one really cool thing is for email interaction. Based on the best time to contact, when you're drafting up an email inside the CRM, you're also able to schedule that email based on that specific time. I think that's pretty cool. So instead of actually sending it immediately once you're drafting it up or replying to an email, you can just go ahead and schedule it for that specific time, and it'll delay that email for when it thinks is the best time that they'll actually open it and be more likely to reply to that email. So you can actually schedule those out. So a couple of things that it suggests and uses for your sales reps as a way to get those people on the phone, get that response a little bit quicker, and utilize those things as well. Okay, so here are just a quick list of some of the tracking mechanisms that Zia uses on the back end to actually display this information. So of course, you have that email interaction. So anytime that they open an email that was sent from yourself or when they reply to it, if they pick up the phone using the phone telephony integration that we have, if you have your telephone system connected to Zoho, then it'll actually capture that information as well. Social media interactions, so retweets, direct messages, Facebook posts and likes, and then also website activity. So if you're using Sales IQ, which is our website activity monitoring tool, then all that website tracking information shows up in the CRM, and based on when they're actually visiting your website, it'll use that information as a reference as well. And then, of course, some other applications from other spaces. So Zoho Desk for support tickets, Survey for those responses, and Zoho Campaigns for other newsletters. Now, this also takes into account other third-party applications as well, like MailChimp, SurveyMonkey, Zendesk, DocuSign. So if you're using any of those applications that are similar to this, you'll be able to see them, and Zia will be able to capture that information as well to use as the best time to contact. So a lot of different tracking mechanisms are coming into play from all these different places. And again, these are all captured as signals inside the CRM as well. So you're able to use that as a way to get that best suggestion from Zia. All right, so that's a little bit about the interaction assistance. Now, the next portion of the of what Zia can do and the enhancements that we made on this artificial intelligence is sales performance. And that goes a little bit into the trend analysis side of things. So you might have seen these dashboards already, and I'll do a quick demonstration of what exactly those capabilities are and how it gives you those notifications. So you've probably seen this, that little atom icon on the bottom right of your CRM, where it actually flashes a couple of things. So these are examples of some of the alerts that you'll be able to utilize as it starts to learn what you're doing in your account. Okay, so as it collects more information and sees a lot more interaction data coming in, then this is an example of some of them. And I'll go into a quick explanation of all these. So the first one that you'll see is sales prediction. So at a certain point in time in the current month, for example, it thinks or it believes based on previous history, like maybe June of 2017 or May of 2017, based on the revenue that you generated in May 2016, let's just say it's $30,000, then it predicts that you'll have 30 or above. And at that particular point in the month, then it'll say, you know what, you should have generated this much by this amount of time based on previous history. Let's focus on these more likely to winning potentials or deals inside the CRM, and it'll give you a quick link to your most updated deals in the CRM and give you a quick breakdown of the ones that could be pretty closed pretty soon as well. It also allows you to track leads that are generated from certain sources. So let's just say you have, you generate a list of leads from your website based on a form that you have set up in the CRM, and you might get maybe 50 leads a month from that. So if it falls short of that 50 mark based on what it thinks is going to happen, then it'll send you a notification on leads being generated from a certain channel as well. So based on that lead source field, it'll start to coordinate those things, from other pieces like the website or other lead generation sources. And it also tracks down on user activity. So not just things that are happening on a data side inside the system, but also what your users are actually doing on a day-to-day basis. So that means if they're spending a little bit too much time updating certain information, sending out the same email, creating a certain task, and just repeating the same tasks over and over again, it'll be able to detect an audit of what exactly they're doing, what they're trying to change, and then use that as a way to suggest something, a better way to improve upon that, and use better suggestions to make that process a little bit easier so they don't have to waste their time entering information inside the CRM. Okay? And it also gives you some type of audit on your workflows as well. So a lot of people tend to use workflow automation in a couple of different ways, but essentially one of the workflow features inside the CRM is that you can send out automated emails to your customers. I'm sure some of you have used that before. So it's based on certain conditions, like you update a certain field or you close a sale, then you send out an email to them. So Zia will be able to identify that this person is potentially going to get 2, maybe 3 emails from you on the same day based on those certain workflows that you have set up. So it'll actually prevent some of that annoyance that might come from automation inside Zoho or another CRM system, obviously, to prevent those things from happening. So it'll even look at your workflows, some of the things you might have set up already, and suggest a better way of using those. So it even audits the way you set up your CRM. So if you think about it, and I'll kind of go into a demo of the dashboard side, you'll be able to utilize that to kind of coordinate exactly what's going on and how your entire system is set up on a data side. So if I move over to my Zoho CRM page, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So all of you have probably seen the dashboards module before. Two of the new dashboards that you'll be able to see is sales trend and sales follow-up trend. So those are the 2 new things that are made with Zia. So for the sales trend option, it does quite a few different things. First off, this blue line that you see here is what's actually being done in my CRM account. I've created 2 leads in December, 5 leads in January, and then for some reason I created quite a lot in March. So this orange line actually is the prediction of what Zia thinks is going to happen. Right. So based on previous history, what's been done before, previous months, previous years, then it makes that prediction in this orange line. Okay. And then it also makes those predictions in the future. So not only is it making a prediction on data or things that are happening now, but if you want to move it over and see things in the future, then it'll also show that up. This is just an example of lead creation. It does quite a few other things like lead conversion as well. So what it thinks the amount of leads are going to be converted in my CRM. It'll also do contact creation of opportunities and deals inside the CRM, closure rates, and closure revenue as well. And then I can even drill down, not by just a monthly basis, but I can go from monthly to yearly or weekly or even on a daily basis as well. So it'll allow me to drill down a little bit on these different actions that it thinks are going to happen. Now, you might have noticed these red dots here. That's what we call an anomaly. What it thinks is going to happen, and for some weird reason, the actual values of what were entered inside the CRM were not met by that prediction, right? So in those specific red dots and anomalies, that's when you get a notification from Zia on this little bottom bar, where it'll actually give you that notification of some of these anomalies. So in real time, based on those predictions, then it'll give you a quick rundown of what's going on, and you'll be able to use the suggestions that it makes to make those a little bit more effective. Okay, so you'll have, again, lead creation, conversion, deal closure, and even by revenue as well. So it captures quite a few different things in these different dashboards, as you can see. So this is just on sales activity, right? Across your entire company. You can drill down on a specific user if you want to as well, so not just yourself or your team, but I can drill down on any one of my users that I have. And then it takes it a step further with sales follow-up trends. So this does sales activity. So we talked a little bit about creating leads, converting, closing sales, but now this is actually activities that are administered by someone in the CRM. So how many people are closing out tasks, what it predicts is going to happen, events being created as well, calls that are being logged in the CRM as well, notes, and even email analytics. So what it thinks is going to happen for emails sent, bounced, and opened. So based on those predictive analyses, it'll capture this information and show it to you a little bit better using these different dashboards and trends. Okay? So that's a little bit about what these trend dashboards can do, and you can pretty much access them and, again, drill down on a timeline basis. You can predict or extend this further into the future, and maybe go a little bit more granular on these day-to-day or week-by-week views as well. And your sales reps would be able to access this too. So if you give them access, they can see how their productivity is for these dashboards, and they can drill down a little bit further and use this as a way to help themselves. Okay, so it's a little quick demo on the dashboard side. Now, I kind of mentioned this already for the automation and workflow assistance, but essentially this is a quick way that might have come up for some of you already. If you continue to do the same certain actions for each record, if you go down the list, you call someone, you update a couple of fields, you create a task, you maybe send an email, based on that previous interaction and the things that you do on a day-to-day, or just line by line on each lead, then it'll pop up a notification that says, hey, we noticed that you're doing the same thing over and over again. Why don't you use a macro? So it'll actually give you a quick suggestion on ways to do this a little bit faster and easier versus just going down the list and repeating the same steps over and over. So you'll have that as an option too. And it even kind of audits that on the workflow side. So instead of using a macro, which we're going to talk about in the automation section later today in this track, you'll also be able to get suggestions on workflows as well. Okay, so that's a little bit about the sales performance analysis and what's available so far. Now, let's talk a little bit about the future. So I know this is probably one of the more exciting topics. So far, we've made 2 enhancements to the CRM, as you can see, right? We improved that interaction assistance, and we also have gotten our way into sales performance. So the reasoning behind our progression in this direction is really that, again, we wanted to take a step back and see exactly how people are using our CRM on a day-to-day and ways that we can tweak that experience and make it a little bit better. So we're using this information to perfect these 2 enhancements. Now, of course, as Zia gets a little bit more intelligent, and understands a little bit more about the data that people are using, we're also going to be putting in multiple other algorithms to enhance what Zia can do inside the CRM. So this is not just what we're doing at all. Think of this as a way of how the CRM started back in 2006 or 2007. It was the 1.0 phase, right? 10, 11 years later, it's where it is today. The depth and the breadth of what it can do is tenfold, hundredfold of what it used to be back 10 years ago. So think of Zia in the 1.0 phase right now. We have these two enhancements that we've set up so far, but think of where it could be in the future. So let me give you a quick example of that. And of course, this is just the beginning. So what Zia is doing right now is just on a department level, where we're enhancing the sales experience and the user experience for the CRM to give you guys and users a better way of using the CRM on a day-to-day. Now let's think about it for marketing. Based on website activity and when someone is sitting on your pricing page or on your contact form, it can automatically assign different scores, maybe. Or, based on people that are being generated from a specific trade show, might not be generating enough as another channel. Based on what it thinks is considered a qualified lead, maybe, then it automatically shoots that over to your CRM. So just based on all that, it can just automate the process of putting someone in your CRM system based on that website activity. Think about it from an invoicing or a finance perspective. Maybe you send out an invoice to your customer with a due date that for some odd reason they always miss. So they're always past due. So maybe Zia would be able to recognize that they always have an outstanding balance and say, hey, this person tends to pay very late. Do you want to send out more reminders? So think of it in that way. And then maybe think about it from a customer support perspective. Someone sends you a really angry email. Based on the content of that email, it can suggest a priority, right? They have 50 exclamation points. It's all caps, whatever else. They might have some bad words in it. Who knows? But based on that, it can maybe prioritize it a little bit more than some of the other ones. Or based on what it has seen customer support reps answering for a typical question, it might suggest the answer before it actually sends out that email or that response. So it actually, maybe start to collect that typical questions that come into Zoho Desk or from other channels and be able to use that as a way to suggest what the best response would be. Okay, so that's how Zia might be able to improve things on a department level: marketing, finance, even support. We could think about it in a couple of different ways as well. Maybe on the back office side, not just the customer-facing side, but employees that tend to log their time a little bit later might not have a positive score from their support experience, for example, or other things on user activity. So we can think of these in a lot of different ways. But here's the key thing. We can go from a department level now to a business level. We can take all these different predictions and analyses of all these different applications in the Zoho space and be able to make predictions instead of just on the department level and now on a business level, right? So if we think about the same graph one more time, we extend a prediction all the way from when a lead is hit in the CRM or from Zoho Campaigns or Sales IQ all the way until they close and they become an actual customer and they have some support issues. So maybe people from, maybe leads that were generated from your website and have closed a sale in less than 2 weeks and spent $10,000 with you tend to have a better support experience than people who you saw at a trade show that tend to close in 2 months and have a negative support experience. So it'll take that data from all these different departments, all these different databases, all these Zoho apps, and make those predictions across the entire business level. That's where we see the future of Zia, and that's where the vision is for us.